This week on ANN, the Seventh-day Adventist Church releases its first Women's Study Bible.
Members celebrate the church's 100th anniversary in India's Kerala state.
And youth department leaders encourage the church's young adults to prepare for Global Youth Day.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thanks so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, the Seventh-day Adventist Church's Women's Ministries Department this month released the Woman's Bible, which is the first study Bible specifically designed for women by the denomination. The Woman's Bible was published by Sa Feliz, an Adventist publishing house in Spain. The Women's Ministries Department sent this report.
The Women's Ministries Department of the General Conference and editorial Sa Feliz are glad to introduce the new Women's Bible, a priceless treasure that delivers the Word of God to a woman's heart. This Bible features lots of resources especially developed by women for women that really makes it unique and most desirable. You will be able to study and better understand the Scriptures with the introductions and outlines of each book of the Bible. You will learn about the most important women of the Bible, their trials and victories, strengths and weaknesses. You will find many notes and commentaries that appeal to a woman's interest and highlight the wonderful ways God can touch and use them in these times. You will enjoy colorful illustrations of well-known women of the Bible, along with a description of their character and lessons we can learn from their lives. You will be thrilled with the special Bible studies that present biblical truths in a practical and powerful way. You will also find maps, charts, promises, and many other tools that will contribute to your spiritual growth and encouragement. The new Women's Bible comes with 4 different covers and features the New King James Bible version. You can purchase it for yourself and also for the ones you love. It's also an excellent gift to the ones you want to share your faith with.
Raquel Ajais has more on how the Woman's Bible can encourage more women to expand their study of the Word of God.
The Bible is designed for you, especially for you, because first, you read the Bible with a different style in terms of approaching. It's a New King James Version, but written with all the comments or commentary by women. Second, you will find many different things in the Bible, especially with our philosophy, and everything that you read is around the women. It's going to be good for you because we are women. We need to know more and to learn more from the women of the Bible. And number 3, you will get closer to God. You will be revived by the Word.
Church members in the southwest Indian state of Kerala last weekend celebrated 100 years of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's work in the region. The celebration comes a century after the church's message first arrived with a bookseller from a neighboring state. More than 4,000 people attended the festivities in the Al Saj International Convention Center in Kerala's capital city. During the celebration, World Church President Ted Wilson challenged members to stand firm for truth and to serve others faithfully while waiting for the second coming of Jesus. Wilson also spoke at 2 press conferences and met with Kerala's chief minister. Today, there are nearly 37,000 members in the state, as well as 27 schools and a hospital with a nursing school.
In preparation for next year's Global Youth Day, the Adventist Youth Department will launch a campaign in November to help spread awareness of the worldwide day of service. The department's media kit will include promotional flyers and videos, a list of suggested activities, and the official logo. A big part of the day is the integration of an app specifically designed for young people to share their photos, videos, and stories of service. The Global Youth Day app is available for Apple and Android devices. Gilbert Kanji has more on the significance of the department's app.
We were just so incredibly blessed that God brought around us some incredibly talented and gifted engineers who were able to make Global Youth Day a reality. Now, what does that mean? You know, what we had was a 24-hour unbroken relay of live transmission. The company where we accessed those resources, those encoders, suggested to us that this kind of technological adventure had not been tried before. So we've made history, and we are so proud of that. Not because of what I can do or people on me, but because God in His church has incredible people that can translate vision into reality.
For more information, visit gcuyouthministries.org and click on Global Youth Day. You can also watch videos on the department's YouTube page at youtube.com/gcuyouthministries.
Church leaders and health professionals recently attended the opening ceremony of the first Seventh-day Adventist Medical Center in Bucharest, the capital city of Romania. The Pre-Med Center will focus on rehabilitation, physical medicine, and the treatment of disease through bathing and spa treatments. Pre-Med will also offer consultation through 15 medical offices and specialized fields, including general medicine, family medicine, dentistry, and psychotherapy. The center will treat its patients with holistic medicine that will lead them toward healthy lifestyles inspired by God and affirmed by medical research.
Humanitarians recently completed an extensive project in Cambodia that aims to improve health problems due to malnutrition. Employees from Australia's Sanitarium Health and Wellbeing Organization partnered with staff from the Adventist Development and Relief Agency in Cambodia to assist rural villages, where 40% of children experience stunted growth. The group formed ADRA Connections, which built latrines and wells. The group also launched nutritional programs, environmental health campaigns, and home gardening programs. The new facilities will help improve nutrition, sanitation, and hygiene for those living in the villages.
More than 400 people attended a 2-week evangelistic campaign that recently concluded in the Eastern European nation of Bulgaria. The evangelistic series titled Code Predicted included 2 simultaneous campaigns, one in the downtown area of the capital city of Sofia and the other in a section of the city with a high Roma population. As a result of this series, more than 36 people decided to get baptized and 50 people enrolled for follow-up Bible study courses. The campaign was also live-streamed through Hope Channel. Viewers in more than 60 countries tuned in to hear the daily messages. Organizers already have their sights on the next nationwide evangelistic effort set to take place in 2016.
Church leaders and members recently had the opportunity to reflect on worship experiences at a conference in London, England. Fabiana Bertacci has more.
Meeting people from many different countries and cultures, people singing, praying and worshiping God with all they have. This was the essence of a worship conference that took place in London in October.
Every people, I believe, has its own interpretation of worship, but when we come all together, we become one in worship.
I love music, but I don't necessarily connect with God always with music, or I don't need music to connect with God. But it's one of those, one of those things that you do use to connect. I guess worshiping with people together just by talking about God is what worship is to me.
You have to believe, like in a God, believe in God and what He's done for you without a week. And I think that it will come out in the way how you express yourself in worship.
This worship event today is part of a big and important conference where people are learning and discussing how to better praise the Lord in their search for a true adoration.
Worship is really connected very closely to this culture, and if you look at through the Bible or through history, there is always a cultural element.
Worship is really about understanding the good news in the context of the bad news of our own story. It is not about us, it is not about telling how we feel or we experience, it is reciting the good news of what Jesus has done.
Workshops about music, technology, and most of all, how to find the essence of worship in the Bible were brought to an interested audience who will take this knowledge to their communities.
Actually, our life is a whole worship, and evangelism is worship. It's much more than just coming at 11 o'clock on Sabbath morning. But yes, people are so concerned about the forms. rather than the meaning, the essence. And the essence is the Lamb of God, focusing on Jesus Christ. Depending on your cultural setting, on your background, it will be different from place to place. But God is interested in focusing more on the meaning rather than forms.
As you may know, church members worldwide are following a daily Bible reading plan known as Revived by His Word. The plan is leading participants through the Bible one chapter at a time and will culminate at the 2015 General Conference session in the U.S. state of Texas. This Sunday, November 2nd, the reading plan will launch into the New Testament. So far, the reading plan has been very popular throughout the world. We recently reported how the social media hashtag for the campaign reached millions of people in South America. If you haven't signed up, it's not too late to participate in Revived by His Word. Jerry Page has more.
You know the stories have been just pouring into us about the lives changed. Julie of Canada said, you know, I knew about God, but I met Him here. That's the kind of thing we've been praying and hoping, and we see all the time. A doctor from Nigeria in our hospital there said his own life has been dramatically changed, but their hospital has been drawn together in mission for their helping the sick and the poor, the mission that they do there through Revived by His Word. So we could go on and on with testimonies, marriage saved, new members assimilated and grounded in the church and all of that, but we're just hoping you'll join us. We're in a new phase now, starting the New Testament Sunday, November 2, chapter a day until General Conference. Come and join us, revivedbyhisword.org, and let Jesus revive your life through His Bible.
Coming up, learn how an Adventist church in Jamaica made a difference at a local post office.
If you go out in the night and you look up in the heavens and you see all the stars, and now with the Hubble telescope seeing billions of stars, and people say that there isn't a God in His creation, I have a real problem with that as an engineer, because everything in engineering is done with mathematics. 1 and 1 is 2. It's not 3.5. It's not 1.8. It's all math. And God is perfect, and math is a perfect science.
Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Go and gather all the Jews who are in Susa together, and pray and fast for me. Do not eat or drink anything for 3 days and nights. I and my maidens will fast as you do. After that, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish.
Welcome back. And now for more news from our global church community.
What started out as a desire to help reduce long lines at a local post office turned into long-term commitment to assist community members. In addition to providing a post office with a numbering system, chairs, and water stations for customers who have to stand in line for a long period of time, local Adventists recently sponsored a health fair during World Postal Day. Customers were treated to free health checkups, food gift baskets, counseling, and health presentations as they waited to be served. A paint company also donated 150 liters or 40 gallons of paint to give the post office a facelift and commended the Adventist Church for its initiative to make a lasting impact in its community.
What an awesome story. What seemed to be so terrible, I'm waiting in line at the post office, turned out to be a positive thing.
Get out there and make some changes. It's great. It's good to see.
It is. It is. Now we go to Australia, where a teenager with a disability defied medical odds and used his blessing to make a difference for student athletes in his area. Record in Focus has more.
Eric is 16 years old now, and despite his cerebral palsy, he's loving life and still going strong. But after all the help he's received over the years, Eric, who attends Central Coast Adventist School in New South Wales, decided it was time to give back.
So forget actually Mount Everest, forget the Grand Canyon. We are here at this place of national identity and beauty and a beacon of hope. And of course, Eric, are you excited about this?
Yeah, I am.
His fundraising climb of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, 1,400 steps, was broadcast live on morning television and raised nearly $2,000 to support young athletes in his local region.
Everyone, Eric has done an amazing job. What do we think? It's fantastic, absolutely. Beautiful. Eric, give us a thumbs up, buddy.
Oh, what a remarkable young man.
Hundreds of people were blessed as a result of last month's mission to the city's evangelistic meetings in Mongolia's capital city of Ulaanbaatar. Speakers and volunteers came from 8 countries to support 14 local churches that held meetings for the series. The Taiwan Adventist Hospital provided a medical team that offered free medical services to more than 500 attendees. As a result of the meeting, 142 people were baptized in a baptismal ceremony.
ADRA is one of 2 agencies partnering with USAID in a $75 million food security initiative in Madagascar. The 5-year ADRA program, titled Asotri, which means harvest in the local language, will reduce vulnerability and food insecurity among households in the nation's central and southern regions. The program will directly benefit nearly 265,000 people. The program aims to improve health and nutrition, increase sustainable access to food, improve disaster preparedness and response, and improve natural resource management.
In Brazil, an Adventist couple that was married for 65 years recently passed away less than an hour apart. Novo Tempo sent this report on a touching love story.
65 years of marriage is a story of love and companionship that lasted even until the final minutes of life. Italvino and Giva Poça died in the same hospital room 45 minutes apart. It was here in this house in Porto Alegre, Rio Grande do Sul, that the majority of their married years were spent.
The level of dedication my grandfather had to please my grandmother was always noticeable. Even when they were fighting, you could still see the love between them. Not fights as such, but just the day-to-day occurrences. But even their daily interactions were beautiful to witness.
All this love and respect was fundamental in something they had in common.
They always had daily communion together in the morning. My grandfather was very dedicated to his spiritual life, as was my grandmother, even until the final minutes in the hospital. My grandmother used to help and assist with ADRA in her church, and my grandfather always did mission work, including partaking in communion with elderly people. It was always amusing for us, because my grandfather was old himself, and he still brought the bread and juice to share communion with other elderly people who couldn't get to church.
In August 2013, Italvino began his battle against leukemia, and in January 2014, Giva discovered she had cancer in her bladder. Veramar, one of the couple's children, shows the garden where Italvino grew his wife's favorite food. This was one of the customs that guaranteed them a better quality of life.
Health was always a big priority for them both. He would have regular exams to take care of his health so he could be with her and she could take care of him at home.
The 1st of October 2014, Giva, who was already in the hospital, took a turn for the worse. Italvino went to visit her and was very upset.
When he got to her hospital room, he didn't even have enough strength to walk. He just stood by the door and cried.
2 days after his visit, Italvino also fell ill and was admitted to hospital with his wife. It was here in this hospital, in a room very similar to this, where Italvino and Giva Poça spent their last moments. Realizing the desire of the couple to stay very close, the nurses pushed their beds together and the two joined hands, finishing life the way they always went through it, together. Italvino died first, Giva 40 minutes after, but this testimony of love and commitment still lives on today.
The legacy that they left was their commitment to each other. They were always loving each other, joking between themselves and with everyone that worked with them. So everyone here at the hospital had a special kind of affection for them. They were always playful, passionate, and united. What they left behind for me was this. In their lives, there was never the word I. It was always us. Her life was always like that. And when he finally realized it, he reciprocated even better.
Ele retribuiu da mesma forma, até melhor.
And finally in the news, we would like to congratulate 2 Adventists in Jamaica who were recognized last week by their country's government during National Heroes Day. Audrey Sewell, an elder at the North Street Adventist Church in Kingston, was conferred with the Order of Distinction, the nation's 6th highest honor for her outstanding contribution to public service in the areas of justice and education. Sewell serves Jamaica as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing. Alfonso Marshall, an elder in the Trenchtown Adventist Church, was awarded the Badge of Honor for meritorious service for his work in the field of road maintenance and construction. Marshall is employed by the National Works Agency. Up next, the launch of a new website for evangelism material.
I pray for the people that are poor and don't have any homes or no food at all on the streets. I pray for people to be safe. I pray that a lot of things in the world would be fair. I pray for homeless people. I pray that I do a good job in school.
During communism, corporal punishment, it was just the thing to do. That meant I have to put my hands out, and I would get so many hits on my hands that instead of having the dip, it was puffing out. I would pray that God would keep me safe. My name is Adrian, and my prayer was answered.
Welcome back. For this month's feature from the Ministerial Association, Robert Costa shares a preview of a new website for pastors and lay leaders.
Hello, I have good news for you. And the good news comes from this holy book, the Bible, that tells us that Jesus is coming soon, and this gospel of the kingdom will reach every nation. In order to help with the preaching around the world, the GC Ministerial Association just opened an excellent website for pastors and lay preachers. It's called gcevangelism.com. This site is especially prepared to provide resources, news and ideas, to motivate and to facilitate the task of committed pastors and lay leaders. I'm very sure these beautiful PowerPoint and keynote presentations with brand new cutting-edge contemporary graphics in 16:9 will be a blessing in your ministry. Each sermon is open and fully editable, allowing you to make changes or to translate it into any language of your preference. They are free, multicultural, with faces from all over the world. The same Jesus is in the whole series. So visit us in gcevangelism.com and download these brand new resources. In the following weeks, more series of sermons will be added and other resources as well. God bless you richly.
We've recently reported on the many ways ADRA has commemorated its 30th anniversary. For this month's ADRA report, Jonathan Duffy reflects on the agency's mission as they look towards the future.
This year ADRA turned 30, and we want to celebrate with you because without you, 30 years wouldn't have been possible. Last year alone, we reached 21.7 million people in need. You know, ADRA is really the Adventist Development and Relief Agency. It is part of your church, it's part of my church. And our success is based upon a relationship with you, the church members. It's because of your support, whether it's through prayer or offerings or donations, that we've been able to achieve the many things that we've done. And I just want to thank you. You know, ADRA has really based its ministry around Matthew 25, where we see ourselves representing Christ to those who are broken. It's an honor to be part of that ministry, and it's an honor that you have supported us in that ministry. And here at ADRA, we take the global approach seriously. Every day we task ourselves with finding new ways to feed the hungry, give water to the thirsty, and take in the stranger. You know, as we look back on 30 years of ADRA, there's much to celebrate, Or perhaps celebration is the wrong word, as we think of the famine in Ethiopia in the 80s, Typhoon Haiyan more recently, the Asian tsunami, Haiti. You know, and in addition to those things in our past, the efforts that we're still involved in today, the famine in Sudan, the Ebola crisis that's hitting West Africa, the struggle within Syria. But you know, ADRA is more than a relief agency, it is also a development agency. We work with communities to empower communities to find their own solutions, to give individuals the dignity that they need to know that they can take control of their lives, whether it's through providing clean, sustainable water, through helping them to find agriculture and food to feed themselves, or through microfinance to create opportunities for themselves. The success that we've had for the past 30 years has been dependent upon your support. And the success that we're going to have for the next 30 years is also dependent upon your support. Go to adra.org today to investigate ways that you can engage with ADRA and continue to be part of our ministry. Thank you for your support, and most importantly, thank you for your ongoing support for the next 30 years.
Now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, learn about the beginnings of the Bolivia Adventist University.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. October 26 in 1928 marked the beginning of Complejo Educativo Adventista de Bolivia, or the Bolivian Adventist Educational Complex in La Paz, the Bolivian capital. Later renamed Bolivia Adventist Industrial Institute, it moved later again to its current location in Vinto in the department of Cochabamba, Bolivia, where it evolved into what is now Universidad Adventista de Bolivia, or Bolivia Adventist University, which last year had 1,342 students. On October 29, 1937, a Lay Preachers Institute, the first of its kind in North America, was held at Jamestown, North Dakota. It was attended by 24 lay preachers, 16 of them from the state of North Dakota. And the training received at the Institute led to the launching of 8 evangelistic campaigns led by lay people and carried on simultaneously across the state. It's a powerful reminder that previous generations of Adventists recognized that witnessing and outreach are responsibilities for all church members, not just pastors. On October 31, 1900, a young Australian, Albert Henry Piper, landed in the Cook Islands on the island of Rarotonga. He was not only the first Adventist missionary to the region, but also the first Australian to go as a foreign missionary, and the first in a long line of Australian Adventist missionaries. By the end of that year, 18 people had been baptized on Rarotonga. Today there are over 900 church members in the Cook Islands. That was This Week in Seventh-day Adventist History.
Thanks for watching, ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can connect with other Adventists worldwide through more stories, photos, and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News, Twitter/Adventist Church, and Instagram @Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from John chapter 14, verse 27. The passage says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid."
That's our program for this week, and remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.